Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't see it letting up in a very long time. I mean, people are thinking, oh, I'm going to sit back and wait. What are you waiting for?
Buyers or sellers?
Buyers.
Okay.
Well, sellers. Sellers are buyers. That's the issue. That's crazy.
What do you see,
Yes.
right?
I saw new construction. So I've been getting a lot of calls on some new construction in the Rockville, Durwood area, and it's a little bit of a mess to show that stuff.
Why is that?
Models are in different locations, and these people don't understand that what they're seeing is not what is listed online. And it's an education for the buyers. Let's just say that.
And very little commission.
Yeah, well, I think it was 2% actually on these,
Yeah.
but it's, again, they'll advertise one number, but really they're showing something complete. You model homes, you guys know how that is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, March started off the first week really good. I haven't seen the data for this week, but I know that 44 homes in the first 4 days compared to, I think, 11 per day average compared to 6 per day average in January and February. So I'm looking forward to looking at the data today.
Yeah, it's kind of eye-opening. We're starting to see the inventory pick up, and the gap between, and I'll go over this later on, but the gap between the new listings coming onto the market every week is increasing every week, and the gap between because what was happening at one point, you almost had 300 homes coming on the market and 275 going under contract, right? Like the absorption rate was almost at 100%. Right now, there's twice as many listings coming on that are going, as opposed to what's going under contract. So I think we'll start.
Right.
And as you see inventory build, you will see pricing kind of start to plane out a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the hope. Hey, okay, going back to the new builds. So I went to Home Depot this weekend, and wood prices have doubled, if not more. It's absolutely insane. So it made me think, one, or I know they don't get their wood from Home Depot, but prices are prices. So I know, basically my question was, say someone does an extension, say a 4-season room, they add square footage to their house. With the price of wood the way it is now, that project almost doubled in price. How will appraisers consider that with the price tag, and how long will it take them to catch up to the prices?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I would not put a addition on right now if I was planning on trying to get that price per square foot back out of the marketplace.
Right.
We looked at that a year and a half ago doing an addition. Oh my God, it was like insanely expensive. Even then, before really there was a lumber shortage.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you look at homes, that put an addition on 20 years ago, 15 years ago. It's going to add that first level above grade square footage, of course. But it's not going to pace, at least what it costs to put an addition on right now. It's not going to pace out
Right.
back on it.
So do you think appraisers will catch up to that, or is that price just going to be a loss, the price increase in supplies? And
I think it depends on, and again, this is what appraisers will always say, it depends, right? Like,
right.
If you put let's talk something different. Let's say you put a garage onto your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're going from a community that has all 2-car garages and you're going to a 3-car garage, are you really adding that much value, as opposed to, the marketplace is all 2-car, you have a 1-car and you add an extra garage space, you probably added a lot more value. You got to look at that sometimes, what You know, if you're adding on
Right.
square footage, are you just making your house way too big for the neighborhood, or are you really catching up with where the marketplace is? And then is it a good value?
Right.
So I'll give you the grading. It depends, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. It popped in my head when I was looking at wood prices and
Yeah.
seeing all these people that are doing projects over COVID and all that.
Yeah, and there was an agent a long time ago who he had a great line. It was, "Well, I hope you enjoyed it." You are going to do an improvement. You know, don't expect the market to for some improvements. It's not going to be a dollar for dollar.
Right.
You know, carpet, paint, yes. Kitchens, bathrooms, probably. You know, other stuff, I think it's really going to depend.
Well, I mean, if they put in a $40,000 kitchen upgrade, they're not going to be able to add 40,000 to their house.
In this market, you might,
Yeah. Okay.
Depends on what they do. 40,000, one person's 40,000 is not another one's,
Right.
you know.
But appraisers won't credit them 40,000 for that house in general, will they?
people are waving phrases.
Well, besides that, of course, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but I think, like, if you look at a marketplace, like we've gone through this analysis with our clients where, you know, if you had Corian in your kitchen, right, you got a 3,000 square foot house and you got Corian, you look at what the marketplace is, and I've done this before, and the lowest price per square foot selling in that neighborhood had Corian, right? Almost everything was granite stainless, right? And it really encouraged my seller to make some improvements. But you got to kind of break down each marketplace, you know, because there are
Right.
some marketplaces where you don't need to make those big improvements. And if you do, you're not going to see the value back.
Right. Right. Okay. All right.
Hey, speaking of, a couple of you guys talked about new home construction. Would it be helpful maybe next call we do kind of a download on new home? Would that be in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to hear that.
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me put that on the list. All right. Other wins out there. Stories in the marketplace. What are you guys seeing?
I've started to get what I can only describe as love letters from other realtors telling me how great transaction's gonna be with me if I tell them about my listing in advance. I'm like shocked. I got two over the weekend. Like they write and they say, I have this couple and I know you do a lot of work in Albany and we're looking for this and la, 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 la. But instead of going to get the listing, they wrote to me. Thought that was interesting. Something's never happened like that before. So it's like, okay.
So these are people who've shown your listing, or they know that you're in the marketplace and they're reaching out.
One was somebody that wrote on one of mine and didn't get it. And one was somebody that's just shopping the marketplace.
Okay. So your relationships with other realtors in the marketplace matters. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, we talked about that, reaching out to other realtors, but then also I thought it was interesting that happened right after we talked about that last week. So
Someone was listening.
in another brokerage.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Well, I think that's a great strategy. I mean, I think that's one of the things in off market. Even Tom Ferry talked about this in one of the calls, you know, and I think we talked about this on the last one, is that to me, it kind of shocked me. It was like, instead of going after cold expired withdrawals, he's saying, go back to that last listing agent, right? There is a possibility that last listing agent burned that bridge, but that listing agent might have a lot more credibility than you do going in there saying, hey, look, I just got contacted by someone who has an interested buyer. Are you still considering selling? Right? As opposed to trying to jump over that listing agent and getting to the client. So that's interesting. All right, well, let's hop. Any other topics, things you guys want to discuss before we hop in here?
Something quick that occurred that I thought maybe I'd share with others, and that is Montgomery County just passed some legislation that renters or landlords now can only increase rent 1.6% for their first, during the COVID crisis, whatever that is, and 90 days after they declare it's not a COVID crisis. So, I mean, that kind of like smacks of rent control, right? So, I sent it out to all my landlords who are considering maybe selling their rental properties. And it was kind of opened up a lot of conversations with people about what the future looks like for rent. Because, you know, Montgomery County is not going to hold their taxes down 1.6%, right? Or any of the other expenses that have to do with it. They're just used to be suggested. 2 years ago, they came out with, I forget, it's not suggested, they use another word, but basically they want you to keep it at a certain number. And it was 2.3%. Now they've come out and said it's 1.6, and you're prohibited from raising the rent any more than that. And you know that's going to carry on for a while. I'd say at least a year or two. So something to think about.
Yep. Yeah, and we've had this conversation with folks about this very thing with renters and landlords. I mean, it is a tough market out there if you're a landlord. I'm always big on, you know, buy and hold, right? Like if you've got real estate, hold on to it. But you know, a little bit of my faith has been shaken, and you know, if you're a reluctant landlord, it might be a good time to bail out.
Mm-hmm.
What happened, Rachel?
We're dealing, well, our properties are in Pennsylvania, close, but we're dealing with all sorts of nightmares for tenants that haven't been paying, hiding behind the moratorium, just everything that you hear about, we're experiencing with some of those properties. And we're also under contract with another one, and deadbeat tenant won't pay. It's a nightmare. So yeah, I hear you guys.
Right on. All right. Just a couple things. Wanted to start off. So thank you, Ellen, for giving us that template for pushing out our sales success stories for 2020. I sent it out to my database, and it was interesting. I put on one of the listings, I said found off market, and I got a text from one of my clients, and they said, "What does that mean?" So just keep in mind when you are marketing out there, we use jargon all the time. FSBO, off market, coming soon. And sometimes our clients don't know what that means, right? So just keep that in mind, that sometimes you need to do a little better explaining of what you mean by that. So I thanked her very much for texting me. You know,
well, the thing is, that gave her an opportunity to call you too, though.
Totally.
Have another conversation. So
yep.
I always like to think that something I put in there makes them want to call me.
Absolutely.
So that I can explain it to them.
Yep. Next week, we'll go over new home construction, kind of pluses, minuses about that. So please bring any insight you guys have as well. So let's dive into today's stats. Let me correct this. This is since March 2nd, last Tuesday. So number of new listings that came on the market over the last 7 days, we had nearly 600 new listings. That's up almost 100 from the week prior, and we had 74 from the week prior, and another like 60. So we are seeing this increase in the number of listings coming on the market. One of the interesting things that we talked about a little bit at the beginning of this call was the number of new contracts, right? The number of new contracts only ticked up 5. So we had 5 more contracts last week between March 2nd and March 9th than we did from the previous week. So we're seeing, and Pat and I were talking about this in the hallway, that absorption rate, it was almost 100% at one point. We're now seeing that absorption rate slow down, which will mean that when listings linger on the market, that price appreciation starts, that price escalation starts to cap a little bit. So I think we're starting to see some of that. And I know those of you guys who are out in the marketplace this weekend, you probably got the crap kicked out of you in some places. But again, keep your chin up. I think we're going to start to see the market normalize as we start getting into what is considered a normal spring market. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Anyone seen anything different? Any insight from this weekend?
No.
Okay. Again, the total number of actives, temp offs, coming soons in Montgomery County, we went up 97. So the inventory over the last, I think we're tracking 4 weeks in a row of positive gains in the number of actives, temp offs, coming soons. Actives were up 66. Coming soon's 24, temp off 7. Distressed foreclosure only up 2. Looking in Frederick County actually went down 3. So I don't know if anyone's selling a lot in Frederick County. Any insight in there why that is? Okay. All right. But it's been pretty flat as far as their gains so far. Any questions, insight on that? Okay. Real estate negotiation expert training class, April 1st and 2nd. We only have 2 people signed up. We need 20 if we're going to pull the class off. If you are interested, I've got a link to register. Please do so sooner than later, just so we can pull enough people together to have the class. Anyone do open houses or brokers opens? Any open houses over the weekend?
Joe, could you just repeat the name of the class?
It's called a Real Estate Negotiation Expert, RENE. It's a NAR designation for negotiations. Yeah.
Is that the only time it's going to be offered?
So through Remax, they're offering it in April. I just got an email from GCAR. They're offering it May.
It's on Good Friday. So, and you have to be there all day.
What? No,
So-
me?
Okay, gotcha.
You can jump over to Greek Easter with us, Ellen.
Okay. The following week.
All right. Any brokers? I'm sorry. Any open houses? Anyone do open houses over the weekend? Insights, traffic, activity?
Susan and Kelly had open houses, but I don't think either of them are on today.
Okay.
I went to an open house at the beach this weekend. Unbelievable.
Why is that?
It was lines out the door of this place. Yeah.
What kind of property? Investment property, condo?
Single family,
Okay.
Delaware.
Price point?
$659, I think it was.
Okay. Most people looking for just from what I don't, you may not have known or not, but are they looking at this as investment? Are they looking at this as second home? Are they looking at this as like getting the hell out of Montgomery County?
Struck me as getting the hell out of Montgomery County, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't talk to everybody there. I talked to a few people. That's why
Yeah.
I went.
Yeah. Right on. All right. Watch Tom Ferry's This Week in Housing. Again, I always find that there's some good insight in there just from looking at the real estate marketplace nationally as to what's going on outside of our little bubble here. And again, talking.
Okay, it's all right.
Lynn,
Oh,
she has a new puppy.
Oh no. Oh,
Yes.
Lynn, where's
I
that?
hear that puppy voice.
Okay. So again, we talked about this, headlines do more to terrify than clarify, right? So you'll hear a couple things in the marketplace right now. Foreclosures are going to be on the rise, right? We talked about this before. And again, if you look at that, there's going to be a real good reason why foreclosures are going to be on the rise. Average over the last 22 years, every quarter we see 200,000 foreclosures. Q4, we saw 14,000, right? Going from 200,000 to 14,000. The natural balance of the marketplace is going to make foreclosures at some point this year when the moratorium starts to get lifted. We're going to see that come up, right? And you're going to hear the percentage increase of foreclosures over last quarter, and it's going to sound devastating. But with that said, there's going to be more foreclosures coming down the pike. So please keep a sensitive ear to the marketplace, and be an advocate for people who do need your help, because there are people who are going to prey on foreclosures, right? There is equity stripping out there. There are people who love a market like that, because that's their business, is to strip equity, and you want to be the one there to protect your clients. So other things you're going to hear about is we crossed over the threshold of $10 trillion in mortgage household debt. But if you look at this as far as the percentage of mortgage debt as opposed to people's income, again, 2007, before the crash, we were at 7.2%. Today, we are at 3.85% of household debt service ratio for mortgage as a percentage of their disposable personal income. So yes, mortgage debt is one of the highest points it's ever been, but as a percentage of the household income, it's one of the lowest percentages, right? So you just always want to have this information, because again, headlines are there to terrify, not to clarify. Other things you will hear in the marketplace, talking about cash out refinances, right? Like this is 2007 all over again. Well, through Q1 through Q3 of 2020, we had 103 billion of cash out refinances. Let's go back in history. At 2006, we were looking at 320 billion. It's even hard for me to say, in cash out refinances. So this red area was one of the biggest problems we saw, and why we had a major market crash. There was no skin in the game, so to speak. People had stripped all the equity out of their properties. And then when the market took a little bit of a slight decline, all of a sudden just that house of cards came tumbling down. That's not the case right now. All right. Other things we're going to be looking at is, we talked about this, the flood of distressed properties. I don't think we're going to see a flood of distressed properties. We will see more, but I think it's going to be more of a trickle that comes out, and it's going to be over time. I think the banks learned their lesson. We've got forbearances. We've got some tools that we hadn't had in the past to deal with that. But with that said, we're going to see foreclosures come on the rise. So just, again, have a sensitive ear to that. Anyone experiencing that in the marketplace? Anyone seeing any of that?
Mark, Joe, I'm sorry, I have a question. Don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, go for it.
With the thought of more foreclosures coming on, do you think banks will be wise? I mean, they're wise already, but do you think the price tags will be higher, basically?
Say that again? How do you mean?
Well, if the banks are, they're collecting the properties as they release the properties back into the market, do you think that there'll be a higher price points, basically? I mean, the banks will get a little greedy, saying, "No, what people are willing to pay, no matter what." I mean, they just increase the price tags
on what they release to the market as a foreclosure.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, there's always a little bit of, as there's equity in the marketplace, I'm always a little concerned. Well, will the bank be quicker to foreclose on a property where there is equity, where maybe they stand to profit because this property, these people are getting foreclosed on, and they got 200,000 in equity. I haven't necessarily seen that on a one-on-one basis. When these properties do get released to the market, I mean, I think it's going to be market driven, right? What's going on in the marketplace.
It makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, and again, I don't know anyone here who's listed a lot of foreclosure properties, but there's always a balance of how much you fix them up. And I think the better and I think you see when we've been in a foreclosure marketplace, you see extremes of who's a good foreclosure listing agent, who's a terrible one. And some of them who have good cash flow will do the right things to get the properties ready for market, and then they can get better prices.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's going to really depend on the agents who are taking over those foreclosures. Other questions about that?
Aren't there usually short sales before foreclosures happen?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. If they know about it, if they know that tool's available to them. And I think that's where we maybe get ahead of it. And just make sure that you've got a conscious ear about that to the marketplace. Other things we're going to be looking at is 30-year rates. I think we are going to see mortgage banker. I want my slide change. There we go. So this was from MBA. I'm sorry, no, this was Freddie Mac. Reaching its highest point since mid-November, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage average was 2.81% this week. Economic spending has improved due to the most recent stimulus, but supply chain shortages, we were talking about lumber, right, are causing downstream inflation, leading to higher mortgage rates. While there are multiple temporary factors driving rates up, the underlying economic fundamentals point to rates remaining in the low 3% range for the year. So we are going to still tend to see rates in the low threes. They're going up, and I think that's also going to create some of that affordability ceiling coming down slightly, right? So, and I think that's going to affect some of the prices. And I think one of the things we need to start, have you ever heard someone say, well, I bought my house for $2,800 a month? Anyone ever heard any of their friends, clients, neighbors talk about what their mortgage payment was?
Yes.
Who said that?
I did.
Joe Shaver, tell me about it. Do you have people who talk about what they paid their mortgage?
Yeah, usually they're older than I am.
No, nobody's
when they're
older.
mentioning it that way.
Right on. Yeah. Well, it's one of those things that most people talk about price only, right? I bought my house for $420. I bought my house for $526. It's rare that they ever talk about what their payment is. And I think that's where we need to do a really good job educating our clients and looking at those lender worksheets to look at what the rate is and what their payments are when it comes to, what the price of this home is, because really that's one of the biggest factors in this. Because right now we're seeing prices escalate up. As long as the rates stay low, that there's some good affordability. Once the rates start going up, right, even if you wait, it could be a whole lot more expensive even if the home price dropped 10, 20,000. So just something to keep in mind. Are you guys seeing that in the marketplace? How are you guys counseling your clients?
I'm not quite sure that the market's caught up with that yet. That's something we're going to see very soon. That's is it on?
I can hear you. Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, I was unmuted. Yeah, I think that, again, the market's not quite there yet, but when it does hit, that's going to change everything. And it's going to, early on, all the first-time home buyers, when they start creeping up, if they hit 3 or a little bit more, we're going to have another onslaught of buyers who are going to come running out there. And that's going to temporarily raise the prices falsely. And then it'll take a year for that to straighten out and get back to let's call it a normaler market,
Yep.
But yeah, there'll be a flood. There was in 2006 and 7, rates started climbing up and all of a sudden here they come, and there's a lot of pent up first time home buyers out there. They're just waiting on properties. And when those start hitting, even with interest rates going up, it's going to have a short-term raise in market value and probably long-term decrease in market value, if you will.
Any other insight into the marketplace, what you guys are seeing with rates and how that's affecting your buyers' affordability?
Well, I'll keep going real quick while we're on the subject. But what happened last time, like in 2006, that was the advent of the signature loan, where money became 100% financing, things like that, because you were qualified to 300, interest rates went up. All of a sudden, you were qualified to 275. How do you get back to 300? Well, 0% down, 100% financing, things like that, which in itself leads to foreclosures and short sales. So you can see where the cycle's going or taking us.
Well, I think as long as the banks don't go to a 100% financing stated, I'm hoping that will keep us from that sucking hole of, just unaffordability.
I think we'll see that within 12 months, Joe. I think we're going to see signature loans.
I don't think all the sellers are accepting those.
Well, not now they're not, but the market's going to change.
Well, how do you see, everybody keeps talking about that, and I just don't see that happening.
What don't you see?
The market before the coronavirus, the inventory was very low as it stands. And the fact of the matter is there's been so much, when the market tanked and it took forever to get back. Forever, like for people to actually earn some equity. It really took a long time. So I just don't see, and then the loans, they're stricter. And, I have buyers complaining about how strict I can't believe they're asking me for this information, but the framework for the loans, they're not doing 100%. They're doing VA loans and things like that, but they're not doing the bad loans anymore.
Yeah,
so I just don't see how this demand, and then you think about how many people, there's baby boomers, and yeah, they're all going to sell, but look at how many millennials are out there. I just don't, I see this as a long-term growth.
I really see more expansion with these grant programs and other programs, government-backed programs, like State of Maryland program. They're giving money away like drunken sailors now to everybody for everything, right? So I see much more money going into those types of loans to help with housing. That's what I think the future holds for us.
How do you mean? What kind of programs are you talking about, Ellen?
I'm just talking about some of these grant programs and, just state programs. They just funded a couple of the grant programs this week, and raising the limits on those too, as far as how much money you can make. And
I agree 100%. My client the amount of money that she's getting, she's a teacher. The amount of money that she's getting to purchase her house, she's only going to have to finance 57%.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So let's and I think that's one thing to keep an eye on in the marketplaces. A lot of the grant programs have catches to them.
Right.
It's when we start seeing, and again, I think Pat, you got a good analysis on this. I think it's making sure that if we start seeing like TIN loans, if we start seeing stated, I think that is like the canary in the coal mine. That's when I think the panic button needs to be pushed. But we'll see when what happens. All right. Coming up this week, today at 11 o'clock, Nick Bailey's doing We Are Remax, talking about luxury trends in the marketplace. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Rachel is doing a Facebook Essentials class. Rachel, are you on the call?
Yep, I'm right here.
What are you covering?
So we're going to be covering posting, editing, all that good stuff. Then we're going to get into Ad Center a little bit and just going over content planning and all that. We just put the Zoom link in the Facebook group. We'll also be including it in Heather's email this evening as well. If you have any questions in the meantime, please email me. If there's anything specific you'd like me to touch on as well, I will leave plenty of time for questions.
Any questions for Rachel? Awesome. All right. So on our private Facebook group, and Heather's been sending this out in the daily email. Remember, we've got this matchmaker spreadsheet Please keep updating this thing. You know, if you look at, we've got our properties coming on the market, and then we've got buyer needs on here. Please take a look at this. Let's use this tool to kind of get a jump on the marketplace, see what's going on. If you have something that's gone on the market, if you don't mind taking it off, I'll start trying to take them off too, as I see the dates knock off. But let's use this. I got to imagine in our office we have more than 16 listings coming on in the next 30 to 90 days. So let's use that. Any questions on this? You guys have found this spreadsheet helpful? Yes, no?
There's a few heads up, yes.
Yeah,
It's helpful. But
Definitely helpful.
it's not what
Just
I
need
need.
more houses.
Right.
Yeah.
Just doesn't have what I want.
A couple hundred houses would be nice.
Got to wiggle our nose a little harder and click our heels together.
All right, a couple other things. R4 in person just sold out, but there is virtual R4 registration if you guys want to attend the REMAX conference from the comfort of your kitchen. We also have a shared contractor spreadsheet. No one has put anyone in it yet. You guys are good trying to keep your people to yourselves, but
You didn't even know we had it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's my fault. I was the one who requested that, and I have it on my calendar every day to put my contractors in it to get it started, and every day the thing gets moved to the next day. So on my calendar, so I'll
Manana.
get it started.
Right on.
I'll get it started.
All right, Lori. Anything else before we close out today?
I just want to make sure everybody's getting my daily email. I know sometimes if you're using Gmail, it does go into promotions, but if you have suggestions, if it's getting too much, tell me. If you need something else in the daily email, let me know. Because I try to make sure all the links for the next day are in there. And then on Monday, I send a mass list of all the links for the week. So just so you guys know, that's still coming out.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hey.
Heather, I personally love your daily emails.
Thank you.
So just keep it up. I'm just still trying to figure out when you sleep.
You all do, I don't.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
I love it. But anyway, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I shouldn't say good evening in them, all of them, because you usually see them in the morning, probably.
Yeah, but it works either way.
No, these people are up all night worrying about appraisals, listings coming on the market. I know y'all don't sleep very well.
Rating 15 contracts. None of them are being gotten.
Right. Termite.
you sure the camera's on?
Hey,
Joseph.
Hey, Becky.
Hi. Hi, how are you? I really hope this camera is off, and if it's not, I apologize sincerely to all of you. Two shades away from looking super homeless right now. I did contact REMAX Corporate, and for anyone who's kind of like sitting on the fence about doing the virtual R4, if you like to get those little cool crystal dust collectors every year for your awards, if you do attend the R4, they are going to give you your award for free. So it's almost like a wash. And I don't know if they're just trying to push people to go virtually, but that has been confirmed. You will get your crystal award for free. You just have to pay for shipping.
Thought you always got it for free.
Virtually, Vicki?
I'm sorry?
If you attend virtually or in person, is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know about the in-person because I never considered that as an option.
Oh, okay,
option
but you're talking
personally,
about
definitely. Yeah, and I could forward you the email if you want to push that out, Heather, so you
I
have
sure
it.
can, yeah. That would be great.
Okay.
Thank you, Vicki.
Yeah.
I thought we didn't pay for those awards. Do we?
I've always paid for that piece of crystal that just collects dust. Yeah.
So if you attend the conference, you get it for free.
Mm-hmm. Right. If you want, yeah. If you don't, I
Then
don't know how much you pay from the marketplace yet.
All right. Other comments, questions, things in the marketplace, things you want to discuss before we hop off. Martina put in the chat, short sale foreclosure certification class. Anyone interested in doing something like that?
I'm gonna look into that again today. I'm gonna see if I can't get an answer, and I will make sure we all know soon. By the end of the week, I will have an answer one way or another.
Right on.
Joe, did you end up with 20 people for the real estate negotiating class?
We have 2 so far. So if you are considering, please put your registration in because we need 20 to make the class.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
You should have 3 now, Joe. I just went in and registered for it.
Yes. Awesome. Okay.
The link is in my daily email too, if anybody's looking for it.
That's where I found it.
There you go, Matt. Thank you.
Right. And I guess you guys are practicing some negotiating skills here. You're going to be like last minute registering, right? To see what do they call that?
It's such a
Forbearance, right? Or is that the withholding of information, right? We're not going to tell you.
It's such a bloodbath out there. I mean, one thing I will say, just and I know no one in our brokerage does this, but when you're representing clients and buyers in particular right now, do your fellow agents a courtesy and just when offers are submitted to you as listing agents, respond. I mean, we submitted one. We worked for hours and hours on this offer for these poor buyer clients, and we submitted, and it's now been almost 36 hours and we haven't heard a peep. I mean, I know what that means, and I've told my clients what that means, but just the fact that we have not gotten a response, it would be nice to get a status update just that I can share with my clients. But like I said, it's just a professionalism thing and a courtesy thing, and it's just a reminder.
We're going to be conducting, etiquette classes in the work area.
Our brokerage doesn't need it. We're all good. I mean, everybody in our brokerage is thoroughly professional, up one side and down the other. But boy, there's some agents out there who don't know how to treat others, and especially right now. I mean, I understand when you get, 80 offers on a property, you don't have a whole lot of time. So I do understand.
Although
that.
we acknowledged every one of those, and as we acknowledged, we put it in a group email so that when it came time, let them all know. It just went out, poof, same time, everybody.
And how hard is that to do, right? It's not that hard.
Well, when there was eight offers, it was kind of hard, but still we did it because I didn't
well,
want them to call me back the next day and the next day and the next day asking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so you save time in the long run because then you don't have to interact with them all through,
That's right. So now I got to go and ask for a status update. Really,
Right.
do I have to do that?
Right.
So.
And you got to ask nicely because you don't want to piss them off either.
It might be a small chance that,
It's just
got my email.
they were in a coma and now they're out and they're
Right.
going to look at your offer.
Right. Now you're insensitive.
God, it's a bloodbath out there. I'm telling you, it's just awful.
Speaking of that too, if anyone would be willing to share some multiple offer spreadsheets, that question has been coming up a lot. Just like, I'm pulling my hair out. What are people doing to win, right? And then having a little bit of I've got 3 I'll share with everybody. And if anyone has any other, please let me know. And
sorry to interrupt. One thing I have started doing, and this is going to be my project this week, is I'm calling every lender I know because they're seeing the winning contracts. And I'm asking every lender I know, what are you seeing? What are the winning contracts doing to win? Because I want to do that. So I'm going to hopefully compile a list. And, because you always want to know, is there something I could be doing differently? Is there some advantage I can give I've got 20% down buyers and I still am having a very difficult time getting an offer in. So,
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
Mhm.
you and I figured it out in like 2 listings.
Tell you a funny story. I tell all the buyers, look, they're looking for the highest amount of money, the least amount of contingencies. And, consider throwing in one of your children to get the deal. So working with her, we submitted an offer yesterday to some folks that lost out on 2 that were being very aggressive. And I said, I'm telling you, people are throwing in their kids. And she said, well, so Victoria, who is her 40-year-old daughter, she said, if we could just get her on her birthday and Christmas, we'll throw her in. I said, whoa, so they really want a house.
It's totally cute.
Well, it's just, you know, that was one of the things is that there was a, you know, that I'll just tell you because it's under contract now anyway. But the house on Market Street, you know, it was weird. It was like, so it was, I don't know that it was on Coming Soon. It just became active. And then contracts were due Monday at 6 p.m. So we ended up seeing it Sunday. So we learned that there's.
When did it go active?
No, we ended up seeing.
When did it go active?
When did we, I don't. I think it went active on the 4th.
Was
So
that?
was,
Yeah, I think it was Friday. I thought it was Friday.
Okay. And then they were
Oh,
taking
it's
offers on
Friday.
Monday?
right. So it was active on Friday.
Okay.
We saw, you know, we had to get in and then, you know, to do a walk and talk on something that's historic and, you know, my clients already paid for walk and talks, you know, and they feel like they're paying money and not getting the house. And for that house, they wanted a full, you know, it was just the timing wasn't right.
Yep.
And it's just impossible. It's just very hard. And then someone was willing, I guess, to do a walk and talk and get the house. Because I know that we were up against 2, and that's why my clients decided, forget it, I'm not doing it.
I mean, I
Because
think
they
if,
already
you know,
done
I'm sorry, Mary.
No, go ahead.
You know, I think if, you know, any, I mean, this is a very sharing brokerage, which I love about it. And I think if any of us have sharp lenders out there that we love, we should call this week and see what those winning offers are doing. Maybe we're going to find out it's, you know, there's no magic bullet. Maybe we'll catch a few tips or tricks. And maybe if we come up with something, we can share it on the next call next week.
Yep, let's do that. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you all very much for attending. I will see you all tomorrow for the Facebook Essentials class. And then if not, I'll see you guys. What are you doing, Heather?
Jessica was trying to help me do something. I'm not finding it.
All right. I will see you guys next week, if not sooner. Have a great rest of the week. Bye.
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 Bye, everybody. Have a good week.
Thanks, Jessica.